Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Radhe.
Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Radhe.
Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Gaur Pimanandi.
Hari Bol.
Jayam Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Rajagacharya Stotra Satya Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Kiraboy Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Namacharya Srila Hridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Hari Nama Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nisai Gaur Pimanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanati Mirandasya Gnanjana Salakaya Taksuran Meritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jita Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanditam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kantana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suchidevi Pranamami Hari Priye. Sri Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayesha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nisreya Sayalokasya Dhanyam Swastyayanam Mahat. The Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vasaram Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Bande Sri Gurum Vinataranam Yatkripa Tamaham Bande Sri Gurum Vinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class. No, we have too many things. First this, then this.
But with that one you can find out.
Yes, that's true. Canto number 1, chapter 8, prayers by Queen Kunti. And today we are looking at text number let's see. Yes.
20.
We read 20 yesterday, huh? Yes. Today is 21. Oh, I will. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha
Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha
Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Krishnaya the Supreme Lord Vasudevaya unto the son of Vasudev Devaki Nandaya Devaki Nandanaya, yes. Unto the son of Devaki, Cha, and Nanda Gopa, Nanda and the cowherd men, Kumaraya, unto their son, Govindaya, unto the personality of Godhead, who enlivens the cows and the senses. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Namaha, obeisances. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who has become the son of Vasudeva, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda, and the other cowherd men of Vrindavan, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses. Kindly repeat after me. Let me therefore offer
Let me therefore offer
my respectful obeisances
my respectful obeisances
unto the Lord,
unto the Lord,
who has become
who has become
the son of Vasudeva,
the son of Vasudeva,
the pleasure of Devaki,
the pleasure of Devaki,
the boy of Nanda,
the boy of Nanda,
and the other cowherd men
and the other cowherd man
of Vrindavan,
of Vrindavan,
and the enlivener
and the enlivener
of the cows and the senses.
of the cows and the senses.
Purport. The Lord, being thus unapproachable by any material assets, out of unbounded and causeless mercy, descends on the earth as he is in order to show his special mercy upon his unalloyed devotees and to diminish the upsurges of the demoniac persons. Queen Kunti specifically adores the incarnation or descent of Lord Krishna above all other incarnations because in this particular incarnation he is more approachable. In the Rama incarnation, he remained a king's son from his very childhood. But in the incarnation of Krishna, although he was the son of a king, he at once left the shelter of his real father and mother, King Vasudeva and Queen Devaki, just after his appearance, and went to the lap of Yashodamayi to play the part of an ordinary cowherd boy in the blessed Brajabhumi, which is very sanctified because of his childhood pastimes. And therefore, Lord Krishna is more merciful than Lord Ram. He was undoubtedly very kind to Kunti's brother, Vasudeva, and the family. Had he not become the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, Queen Kunti could not claim him to be her nephew and thus address Krishna in parental affection. But Nanda and Yashoda are more fortunate because they could relish the transcendental childhood pastimes, which are more attractive than all other pastimes. There is no parallel to his childhood pastimes as exhibited at Brajabhumi, which are the prototypes of his eternal affairs in the original Krishnaloka, described as the Chintamani Dham in the Brahma Samhita. Lord Sri Krishna descended himself at Brajabhumi with all his transcendental entourage and paraphernalia. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore confirmed that no one is as fortunate as the residents of Brajabhumi, and specifically the cowherd girls, who dedicated their everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. His pastimes with Nanda and Yashoda, and his pastimes with the cowherd men, especially, and especially with the cowherd boys and the cows, have caused him to be known as Govinda. The Lord Krishna, as Govinda, is more inclined to the brahmanas and the cows, indicating thereby that human prosperity depends more on these two items, namely Brahminical culture and cow protection. Lord Krishna is never satisfied where these are lacking. Translation again. Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who has become the son of Vasudeva, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy Nanda, and the other cowherd men of Vrindavan, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses. So this morning we are traveling to Vrindavan. Queen Kunti has taken us directly to the blessed Brajabhumi, as Prabhupada mentions in the purport, which she recognizes, and all the devotees of Lord Krishna recognize the pastimes of Vrindavan to be the most attractive, most important of all the Lord's pastimes, because it is in Brajabhumi that actually Krishna displays in full, actually, all of his different relationships with different residents of Vrindavan. So the Lord is more, the Lord is all attractive. The very word Krishna, of course, means all attractive. And he is all attractive when he displays his different pastimes when descending in the material world. And of most importance, of greatest importance, are those pastimes in Vrindavan, more attractive than other pastimes of Krishna, whether it is in Mathura or in Dwarka. And as we were discussing and remembering yesterday, the day before, that even Krishna himself, when he is out of Vrindavan, when he is enacting his pastimes in Dwarka, which is so opulent, and all of Krishna's needs are met by all of his associates, his loving queens of Dwarka, but yet his mind and his attachment is especially to the residents of Vrindavan. Very important statement at the end of the purport, especially, which is meant to remind us and help us understand how no society, no community, no country can actually be successful or prosperous or happy unless these two fundamental principles, Go Brahmana, Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha, Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha, our devotees, I think I mentioned just last few days, very tragic event in Sharanagati, which is still unfolding actually. I was hearing yesterday they have shared for the residents of Vrindavan like video that they had. One of the devotees actually went because when there's a fire, most of us have not experienced actually what a forest fire is. But it can be completely devastating. And the devotee who actually, because you need the special permission from the agents of the government, especially those who are what we call firefighters. Vrindavan was also not spared of forest fire. And in that whole pastime, in which is described in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, when the cowherd boys who were grazing the cows, but somehow the cows had gone away some distance, and then they started to smell smoke, and they came to know that great forest fire actually had started and their cows were caught up. So very wonderful descriptions of how some of these cowherd boys were, of course, in total anxiety and were practically, fainting because they could just, they simply could not imagine how they could live actually without cows. Because this is a very fundamental and essential instruction which we cannot appreciate or cannot understand. But in the traditional villages of India, and especially demonstrated in the village of Vrindavan, it is totally inconceivable. It is inconceivable to be without cows. It is also inconceivable to be without the good company, the good to get the good guidance of brahmanas, of people who are dedicated to practicing and understanding, and also sharing transcendental knowledge, without which actually we cannot properly understand what is the purpose of life. So I was just kind of remembering or thinking about our situation coming back to Canada, from Vrindavan to Canada. We have cows actually there, and of course, just like basically like 1 or 2 days before the whole fire set in the valley. It's a long valley. Western Canada especially is filled with many mountains. So between two mountains you have valleys, and that's where we have, this community called Sharanagati village, where the government actually allotted many years ago 70 lots, 70, we could say, residences. And of course, over the years, many devotees have built their homes and have settled there. Many of them are actually, elderly devotees, disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And it's a very difficult and challenging situation right now, because many of the homes, we don't know exactly yet, have actually been burnt. But then I was thinking that, and this is being confirmed in this verse actually, the cows are still there. Still there means that they're safe. They're out of the valley, of course. Everyone is out of the valley. But they still have the cows, and they still have devotees, many of whom are brahmanas. So it means that actually we need to have that kind of faith, and it's definitely, without any doubt, a reminder. Because in the same way that, it's totally Krishna can destroy a whole valley within a couple of days, within a day, practically 2 days, and there's absolutely nothing that we can do about it. Even those who are experts in controlling fires, this devotee was mentioning, they were trying their best, actually, and he was describing how they were working very, very hard, because that's their, like, save us, their service, to save homes, to save lives and whatnot. They were very much appreciating the fact that everyone had left, which is a very difficult thing to do. You're leaving your home, you don't really know if you're going to come back to your home or not, because your home may or may not be there. So what's important for us to know, and Krishna is reminding us either by reading such purport as we are this morning, or he's reminding us through different calamities. And of course, this is building up to what, main prayer of Queen Kunti, which will be coming up after some days, that let these calamities happen again and again. I mean, this is the remarkable and very unusual mood and mentality of Queen Kunti, that she will be recalling, she will be mentioning these different calamities that have taken place in her life and with her children and so many things. And she's praying that actually it is when these calamities take place that we can more and more take shelter of your lotus feet, isn't it? And try to understand, this very basic, fundamental, in the same way that, like, this example of Sharanagati village, that at any moment the whole thing can be, through force fire, destroyed. So Prabhupada said how modern society and Srila Prabhupada mentioned this quite a few times, which is built up on this whole artificial modern city lifestyle, urbanized lifestyle, will one day also not be there, will one day actually be destroyed. And so that means that when we are when we are not in line with what is the Vedic norm in terms of, focusing and living based on the example that Krishna has himself demonstrated, where we focus on, learning total dependency on these three things actually, which comes back to what a grandfather Bhishmadev has instructed to the whole of humankind. And the three gifts of nature are really what we should be depending on first and foremost. And of course, to a large extent, it is inconceivable. The devotees in Sharanagati, we're living off the land to some extent. We're having cows. So it's difficult to understand how this kind of calamity Krishna allowed to take place also. But there's a message behind everything that takes place, and devotees will need to meditate on this and accept. Devotees accept all things that take place as Krishna's ultimately arrangement for us to gain more understanding and ultimately to surrender more to his lotus feet. So this is one of the important lessons, which is being referred to here, of course, in the purport. Queen Kunti is glorifying Krishna, who is known as Govinda, who gives pleasure to the cows. He gives pleasure to the cowherd boys and to the senses. And this is, in so many ways, actually the essence of what the Vedic culture is all about. So the more we are close to this standard, to this way of living, then the more we will actually receive the Lord's favor and the Lord's protection. And the more we are removed or far away from this standard, this norm, which is the situation in modern day society, then the more we will not receive actually the favors of the Lord. So these are a few thoughts on this. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, something. So first of all, here, if we follow, this is a prayer which mostly use names.
Which mostly
use names of Krishna.
Names.
Krishnaya, Vasudevaya, and so next is
Devaki Nandana.
Nandanaya. So these are names. So we can put questions, why couldn't they be using this structure of prayer? And I remember that one possibility that when we use Sanskrit language, we want to describe someone or something. First, we mention what we know. And then, from that point, we put further information and explain that person who we know. She is present here. We don't know, but have other qualities and more important qualities. Like Krishna is present, he is like a human being, but we have to understand. Kuntidevi explained that he is a supreme person of Godhead, but still he took birth in a human family. So that's the first beautiful, wonderful quality of the supreme person, that he took that part of living like human beings. As we know, human beings' life is not really that so more satisfactory. But then he continues, okay, not just the king's son, but immediately he left the kingdom. He could be a high esteemed person, how many persons want to become a king, want to become a president, but Krishna chose differently. So we have to consider if the Supreme Person of Godhead choose differently, we have to consider not necessarily the position
Yes.
would provide the best happiness. So he went to a village. And there, in the village, he could be like a nice, rich son of the richest person in the village was Nanda Maharaj. But what he did, he spent his all days with the cows.
Yeah.
So practically, you can say he took the lower part of the life, but we know that he is the supreme person of Godhead, so he had reason.
Yes.
Why? Because in that place, he could have the most interesting and most variation of relationships. You know, as before, he appeared like Nishingadev, big person,
Yes.
but alone. Only Lakshmi-Dev, his wife was not approaching him
Yes,
because
yes.
he's so fearful
Yeah.
appearance. So then he chose more attractive form like Lord Ramachandra.
Right.
And as Lord Ramachandra, he had a family. He was enjoying this family life, but still, Lord Ramachandra is the son of the king. He was practically no friends who would play with the aquas. And he saw this friendship is so enjoyable, but he couldn't have. Everyone said, "Oh, you are the son of the king." And then he came like Krishna. He have friends, he have girlfriends, he have animals, which every child like pet animals, but he have a lot of animals. So that's we see that more and more we speak. Kuntidevi explains that that is the higher and higher and higher happiness.
Yes.
So when we want to serve the Supreme Person, we also have to consider which situations we try to desire to be part. And that's why Gaudiya Ma's suggesting that please meditate on that service which is satisfying Krishna in Vrindavan, in the forest.
Yes. Yes.
So these specific words have a guidance for us to build up our devotional life and put the goal in the proper way, and then we can
Yes. Yeah.
work on that. So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Which is also explaining how it is especially in that more simple and natural environment that that one, as demonstrated by the pastimes in Vrindavan, that one can have very close relationship with so many individuals, including, as you rightly mentioned, including cows, including animals, especially the cows. Yeah, the Vrindavan pastimes highlight especially all of the different relationships that Krishna has actually with different residents of Vrindavan. So it's like the perfectional level, the highest expression of very loving relationships that are there actually in Goloka Vrindavan, in the spiritual world. And this is what Krishna displays. And yeah, in her prayer here, Queen Kunti Devi is referring to different persons who were related or had particular relationship with Krishna. Yeah.
Today I tried the mood. I came without slippers
Oh.
to have direct contact with Mother Earth.
Yes, 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 yes.
And Krishna also, he didn't have slippers in the forest.
Yeah, in the forest, right? Yeah. Here we have roads.
Here we have roads.
Yeah, good.
And the grass is so beautiful. And you have the road is quite you know,
In the rain.
stones are, but the grass gives you pleasure.
Yeah, grass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why Krishna was not wearing shoes? Because he had shoes at that time, wooden shoes. Krishna was carrying Nanda Maharaj's shoes on his head, big shoes.
Yeah.
He was a small boy. So why Krishna not wearing shoes?
It's blessings for the animals and the plants to give his lotus feet
Yes.
dust.
Other explanation? Other reason?
I heard that cows are not having
Who?
cows.
Cows.
Cows and calves are not having any shoes for their house. So
Yeah, that was
so he rejected that slippers.
Yeah, Mother Yashoda
Yeah.
was concerned about, naturally, like all mothers, concerned
Yeah.
about their child going, and she was trying to convince him that you should wear shoes. You're going, and it's very dangerous to walk with some stones and this and then the argument that Krishna was giving was that okay, I will wear shoes on one condition, that you also make shoes for all of my cows.
Yeah. 9 lakh cows. For 9 lakh cows.
Yeah, right. So that's a lot of shoes. Actually, children, that's an example of how children sometimes they think they're very innocent, so they think their reasoning is very simple.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, okay, I'll wear shoes, but my cows also need shoes.
Yeah.
And so
It's very transcendental.
And you even mentioned that Vrindavan is a simple life, but it's very complex. So if you read so many animals, which we practically don't see in one area, there was every animal present, every species, and they took part of this environment like an
Yes.
eco system. So all these animals have food. All these animals have place to live.
Correct. Yes.
All these animals have role
Yes.
to each other. So it's like very was rich, very complex. It looks simple, but practically the most complex environment, but is natural.
Right. Yeah. That is.
Actually, recently we suffered. Our devotees were suffered so much because of too much heat
Where?
in Vrindavan while
Oh.
Vyasa Puja.
Oh, okay. Recently, right.
So they suffered, but they somehow managed to be there and enjoy the Vyasa Puja.
Right.
Yeah, but Vrindavan at the present age is full of buildings. And in Krishna's time, it was not like that.
Correct.
It was just one palace and
Yes.
little forest
Yes.
cottages.
Right.
It's full
Actually,
of
yes.
trees.
Actually, the first time I went to Cambodia, quite some years back, maybe 15 years back, one remarkable thing that we could observe, probably even now, is that they don't have many cities, and the longest standing buildings are those what we call Angkor Wat, those buildings, those temples actually, hundreds of temples. So in those days, actually, the only two main buildings that was constructed by stone, isn't it? So long-lasting, were temples or palaces. Just like in Europe, we have like in New Vrindavan, not New Vrindavan, New Mayapur, in France. In France, maybe 100 kilometers or so from Paris, from the capital. We have our own Hare Krishna castle. Yeah.
3 times he bought it back.
Huh?
3 times he bought it back. You have to.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Yes. So there's still many castles. So this so temple is for the Lord, castle is for the king, and everyone else is expected to live a simple life. Actually, yeah. But now everyone wants to be the Lord and the king. Everyone wants to live like the Lord and wants to live like king. So therefore, we have nice high-rise apartment. And like in Bangalore, just a month back, it may still be going on. You're living on the 20th floor, whatever, but you don't have any water.
Yeah.
You can't even flush your toilet. So everyone is compact in those, it's like, so therefore, it's all because it is unnatural. Therefore, it will be. It is. We could say self-destructive.
Recently in Dubai also so much rain was happened, and so
Every day in so many places, yes,
Yeah.
we hear of all kinds of calamities. So the the world today, especially, is increasingly witnessing these types of never seen before calamities because we are just not understanding and not following the basic principles of dharma that are explained and given by the Lord. And we're trying to we were reading this is one of the prayers also, Kunti, and one of the verses we just read about those who are either great transcendentalists or great philosophers or mental speculators. Mental speculators and ordinary philosophers, they can never understand, isn't it? And therefore, ultimately, all of their attempts, just like it is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Mogasha Mogakarmano Moga Jnana Vichitasa. Rakshasima Surima Saiva, when we take shelter of the Mohini Prakriti, which is pretty well the standard in modern day society, then everything becomes ultimately, we say failure. Everything becomes baffled. So these are all meant to remind us that there are standards, there are proper ways of living, of doing, and it's one of our, as devotees, both individually and also collectively as a society, it's our prime responsibility, our prime duty to actually understand what is being conveyed, what is actually meant to be our way of living, our mode of living, specifically as mentioned here, what is meant to be our connection and relationship with cows. This is one of the greatest, this will be the downfall actually of modern day society. It is. It's happening under our very eyes and will continue. Because Prabhupada underlines this point in the light of the Bhagavat that he wrote in 1963, the light of the Bhagavat, where Srila Prabhupada mentions that the greatest offense, the greatest calamity in the world today is our neglect of cows, because we just completely don't understand how the cows are the foundation. They are meant just like a building. If you don't have a good foundation, your building will collapse. So that's the situation in modern day society. And it begins actually, that foundation begins actually with the protection of cows. And it's not just a question of physically protecting the cows, but is actually understanding how the whole Vedic culture and civilization, and how also the Vedic education is intimately connected with this activity of cow protection. And we could say, I think quite accurately, that generally we are giving what is called lip service. We're not really understanding, even as devotees, what is meant to be our activities when it comes to looking after cows. Of course, we have major challenges, because one of the most important aspects in terms of properly taking care of cows is to have sufficient land, which nowadays is not practically available, or very difficult in so many.
Land and water.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Clean water, clean rivers.
Yeah, rivers.
Now our rivers are dry, and those who are not dry, you can't drink that water.
Yeah, because we block the source of water going to the river.
Yes, because now we have all of these, big,
Big factories and
for
so
making
much.
electricity, big dams. We made the big dams so that we have wonderful living standard by just pressing on the button, and we have electricity, and we run our factories by electricity. We run everything by electricity, but we don't understand how destructive, how much of destruction we are making, to have this kind of standard. Just like it mentions how this is scientifically established, that the standard of living that Americans have in North America, especially the U.S., the standard of living they have is only possible because they are, although they have only maybe less than 5% of the global population, they are utilizing something like 30% of the natural resources on the planet. So in other words, in order to have this kind of standard, you need to utilize, you need to exploit, basically, Mother Nature to the extent that you're having 30%, utilizing 30% of the natural resources for your particular standard of living. And it's just like not at all logical. And we also can see and observe the type of destructive nature that is built in this type of living situation. So that is also one of the points that Srila Prabhupada, well, as he is doing in his purports here, but that he also included in his 7 purposes when establishing the ISKCON society.
And Maharaj, I think that also it's our responsibility to understand that how to speak about Krishna. So we speak about Krishna, sometimes we mention his Rasagola, and sometimes mention just his stealing butter.
Right.
But the main point, what we have to teach, how Krishna lives in the forest, how Krishna deals with the animals, and not these extraordinary, funny things. Because it's more interesting, but
right,
for people to understand what we really have to follow.
Yes.
What is the example Krishna shows? That we have to teach very cleverly, very nicely.
Yes.
And showing by example.
Yes, yes. Not only teaching but showing. Correct. Yeah. So that's why in that in the chapter 10th canto, 11th chapter, which is describing Krishna's daily activities, in that very wonderful purport, where Srila Prabhupada explains about what is actually Vedic education. He ends the purport by telling that, and Krishna, he is always carrying his flute. Why? For the pleasure of the cows.
And the other animals.
Yes.
He's communicating with so many animals.
Yes. And Balaram carries his plow.
Yeah.
We will soon be getting a plow for Balaram. He carries a plow because he's in charge of agriculture.
Yeah.
So, Krishi Goraksha. Krishi Goraksha is so we're meant to actually, even though we have very small piece of land here, we're meant to actually highlight these two aspects. We can only do it on a very small scale. Krishna willing, we can do it on a larger scale, but having a Goshala is something absolutely essential for any project, for any temple. Actually, temple means it must have cows directly serving the Lord in different ways, and then the land, how to properly. So yesterday, we have the beginnings of our Krishna Balaram garden. A whole group of devotees from Singapore, about 10 devotees. They came with one expert who knows about where we purchase all the different plants in some particular nursery, not too far from here. So we planted close to 100 actually, because we had 80, then 10 coconut trees. So that's why we are looking for actual devoted gardener, farmer. Farmers are generally not given the kind of attention or respect. They're not
Gardener will take care.
appreciated because actually without farmers and without people who know about gardening, then we don't have food and we don't have flowers. And what do we do every day? We offer food and flowers to the Lord, especially it's one of the main activities. So at least we want to make that, that was a little bit the beginning of our experience with maybe on a larger scale. And then when we will develop our Radha Krishna, what is it, Radhakund Park, yeah, that also will be, here we have a few like gazebos. Here we'll not have any structure. It will be, and the area there is actually a little bit bigger also. So we'll have nice, at least these two places, some nice garden. So if you hear of anyone who knows about gardening or who would like to learn,
I'm wondering what would be the picture when there you have 20 or something very strong boys and 12 years old, and they just run out after the school.
Yes.
And how we see them engaged.
Yes. Well, one of the what is the main activity of young boys in Vrindavan? Cows and land, isn't it?
Yeah, but they need space.
Yes. Krishna will arrange.
Climb all the trees.
Yeah, right.
So you have to have strong trees.
Right.
You will
Well,
find the coconut trees and the...
See, every day, like Krishna, isn't it, with Krishna with Sudama Vipra, every day they would go and they would collect wood. So we'll be sending our boys out, with the cows. It's just like if you have an elephant, you have to take him out walking every day. And if you have a car, you have to take your car out, otherwise. So yeah.
You have to have a girl. You have to take
her
out to shopping.
Right. So there'll be all kinds of activities, not only here on the campus. you know. So we have to also make friends with some of our local farmers because, yeah, very
They can
important.
help them
Yes, yes.
to learn how to
Yeah.
plant
That-
rice and other things.
Correct.
They can
Yeah, all year round, actually,
Yeah.
our local farmers are active. So it's like,
you can borrow his voice
right.
and get some.
Yeah, that is the main way that young boys learn, actually, and young girls for that matter as well, by being with somebody who knows how to do
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
particular work.
And they have protected childhood because nowadays children are closed in the buildings,
Right.
and in the maybe in the waking time they have just very closed garden or nothing, to play with. Right. Very sad.
No, we'll have our boys go out sometimes by bicycle or sometimes just by walking. It's the safest mode of transportation is walking.
And bullock cart.
And bullock cart as well, yeah.
Slow.
We'll have a bullock cart, small one. If Krishna allows or arranges that we get more land, then we'll have more activities, a bigger bullock cart. Okay. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Jai Sri Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Gaura Pimanande.
Hari Bol.